Hey everyone, so welcome to the final video of our 3D Unity kind of mini project. So obviously we're not creating like a full game with this project, but it's a really neat exercise because it shows you kind of each of the components of creating a 3D project. Now I am contemplating doing a 3D project for Unit 10. So I have got the whole unit set up to do another 2D project in Unity, but for some reason I think that we can handle a 3D project. So we'll see. You'll find out on Monday whenever you log in to see if I'm doing a 3D one, because I'll have all this stuff posted in the OHS. But we'll see. Hopefully we can. So I'm going to open up my Unity project and we're going to do the last thing. Now, you've worked with a 3D object. You've worked on manipulating and editing that 3D object and even making it move. But now we need to fix the camera. So if you notice, whenever you go in to make the object move, the camera stays where it is, right? But we need to make that camera follow our game object. So this is a big essential part of creating a 3D game, obviously, is where your camera is going to go. So we have our object here. Now we're going to do this via a script. There are many ways to manipulate the camera and how it works, but we're going to do it with a script. The first thing that we need to do is move our camera. It's not in a great position right now. So we're going to click on main camera, and we're going to go over to the inspector, and we're going to change the Y value to 10. All right, so that's going to bump it up a little bit. And then we're going to rotate it along the, I think it's the X-axis, like 45 degrees. Let me make sure. Yeah, so there's our camera preview. So now we're kind of looking down on this object. So let's hit the play button and let's see if this has worked. So sure enough, yeah, we're looking at this, and now we can move our objects. A little bit easier to see our ball, right? And the problem is the camera is now it's still not looking at our object. It's not staying with our object. You may have heard of this as called 3D, third person. Yeah, not 3D. Third person view, and that's what we're going to set up as a basic third person view today. So we're going to click on main camera, and we're going to add a script. Okay. Now I have already pre-written all of this script today, so that just to kind of save time on the video. But we're going to go to new script, and we're going to call this camera controller. Okay, so let's call this camera, and I'm having trouble typing today. Camera controller. So let's hit enter to confirm that. We're going to make sure it's a C# code, and then we're going to hit create and add. But for some reason, I bet it's because we have a space. So make sure there's no spaces in the name. It doesn't like that. Camera controller. So here we have our new script called camera controller inside of our assets folder. Remember to drag that into your scripts folder if you do have a scripts folder. And then let's double click on it to open up MonoDevelop. So while MonoDevelop's opening, I'm going to open this script and I'm going to let you look at it in Notepad. So this is what the script looks like. This is a super simple script. It's one of the easiest ones that we actually have to write in Unity. All right. And so I'll let you, sorry, I'm opening up all my windows. So this is a super easy script, and I'm going to show you what basically it's doing. So we know what a vector3 value is. We already done that. And we're going to call this vector3 value offset. Remember, that's a point somewhere in 3D space. All right, is a vector3 variable. And then we have another public one, which is the game object called a player. So a game object is just some object in the game. We're going to make this public again so that we can edit it from the editor. We don't want to have to go back into MonoDevelop every time we want to do something every time we want to select a new game object, okay, for our camera. So in this scenario, our game object is going to be our player, which we know is our ball. So that's our ball. So we're going to be focusing on the ball. Then inside of our start command, we're going to set the offset variable that we've created equal to transform.position minus player.transform.position. And what this is saying is that it's going to put this point, it's going to put the camera halfway, or the focus point for the camera halfway between our player object and the camera. And that's important because that point is always going to stay the same. No matter how our object moves around the game, the camera is going to stay halfway, the focal point for the camera is going to stay halfway between the ball and the object. And the reason we need it to do that is that if a ball, and I'll use Kirby, if a ball is rolling like this, well, if we had the camera focusing on the ball, then the camera is going to be rotating around it, and that's not good. We want the camera to be focused right here, so kind of in a space up here so that it follows Kirby around. Even if Kirby's rolling, the camera just stays right here. So that is what we're going to do by setting the value equal to transform.position minus player.transform.position. And then inside of our late update function, we're going to do transform.position equals player.transform.position plus the offset. So we're going to offset it based off our vector3 value. Basically what this is saying is that as you update this function, I just want you to make sure that you add that offset. Add whatever the vector3 is at the current time to that position. Okay, so long story short, all of this code makes the camera stay behind the player. So let's test it. All right, so let's copy all of this code, and I'll post this code in the OHS as well. And then I am going to add it to my script. So we have MonoDevelop open. We're going to get rid of all this code. We don't need all this nasty code, and we're going to paste it in. Now, remember, really cool shortcut. Let's say that you don't know what the late update function is. Okay, late update is not something that we've used before, so let's look it up. So we hit Control apostrophe, and it's going to bring up the Unity documentation. If there is anything on the late update, which there is, all right, late update is called every frame if the behavior is enabled. So see, super cool. So late update is like an update function that we can enable or disable whenever we want. So that's pretty important. So now we know what that is. It's in our code. Let's hit Control S. Let's make sure that our camera controller file matches the name of our camera controller public class, which it does. Let's hit Control S to save. Exit out of this. And then I got one more step. So it's almost ready. But the problem is we've created a public variable. Remember that? We created this public variable. So if you click on your main camera, you go over to the script that we created called camera controller. There's our player variable, our public variable that we created. Now, all we need to do, this is one of the things I love about Unity, to associate the ball with that player variable, we need to grab sphere right here. All right, sorry, wait, camera. Click and hold down on sphere and drag it over and drop it into our player area. So now you can see that the player variable is equal to the sphere. So now this script that we have wrote is referencing that sphere as the game object. All right, so I'm gonna hit Control S to save. I'm just gonna go to File, Save Project just to be safe, and let's hit play and really hope this works. So there we go. So now, as you can see, the ball is not just moving. The camera is actually staying with our ball, which is super, super cool. Now, this is your basic 3D setup. The ball is still rotating, even though it doesn't look like it right now. But the camera, you can see as it's falling, the camera stays with it. So let's just move that camera in just a little bit. So let's change the camera height to 7. And we're at rotate, -10. So let's, and then maybe we can zoom it. Can we zoom it in a little bit? Let's try. So let's see what -18 looks like. 16. All right, now let's do minus, and I'm just playing around right now, -5. So let's see if it gets a little bit closer. Control S to save, and hit play, and sure enough, we're a little bit closer, and our camera is sticking with our player. All right, so this might not look like a lot, but trust me when I say you have done a tremendously huge thing in Unity. All right, so if you get your project to this point, try adding more objects, try adding collectible objects. That could be really fun. Try making some ramps or some things for it to jump over. That's really fun as well. This is a big step, and you're going to be way ahead of the game when Unit 10 comes, because you have looked at this enrichment project. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you submit the project to me, and I will replace your lowest grade. And then we will jump back in, or we're going to jump into Unit 10 next week, and it's going to be really good. So thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you very soon. Bye.